We're going to move, Representative Nash moves House File 2868 to be laid over for possible inclusion in the Omnibus State Government Finance Bill. Representative Nash, it looks like you've got an amendment.
Yes, Madam Chair, if we could move the A1 to put it in the form that I'd like.
Representative Nash moves the A1 amendment to get the bill in the order that he would like. All those in favor of the A1 amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the amendment is adopted. To your bill as amended. Representative
Thank you,
Nash.
Madam Chair and members. You've heard me talk about cybersecurity a lot, so I won't beat the drum too much on that. But realistically, every day in the state of Minnesota, millions of people do business that creates data here at the state. And we need to do a better job of taking care of that data. There are cyber attacks that happen from all over the world. It's not just somebody in his mom's basement tapping away at a keyboard. It is nation states. It is professional organizations in other countries that are commercializing the data that reside here in the databases that we have in the state of Minnesota. I am trying to apply a private sector real world, to use Representative Quam's words, approach to cybersecurity, which is to say that a percentage, now 3.5% in the bill, 3.5% of all spend for IT that is through Minute will have a 3.5% peel off to put towards cybersecurity. What this does is it helps keep in check the amount of growth of IT with the amount of IT that is being secured and protected. So that is the goal of the bill, is to provide an ongoing long-term solution to cybersecurity funding. And I wanted to thank Chair Anderson for last year putting money into the bill to do cybersecurity funding. That didn't happen. This is a different solution to the same need. Data grows. We have more and more of it. It's not going away. We have to find a way to make this a reality. So there are some testifiers that are going to be coming forward. But members, it is our responsibility to be the caretakers of the data that resides in the databases that we have. And each and every one of your constituents and you yourself are in those databases. So I personally don't want to be the person that looks in the eye of some of my constituents and say, well, sorry, we got it wrong because we didn't put money towards it. But I'm sure you'll be fine in 30 years after your identity has been compromised. But have a great day. So with that, Madam Chair, I know there's at least one testifier, and I will also be happy to take questions.
Great. So is it Aaron Call that is going to be testifying? Mr. Call, can you join us, please? Welcome to the committee. If you can please state your name for the record and who you represent.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members, my name is Aaron Call. I'm the state's Chief Information Security Officer. First, I'd like to thank Representative Nash for his effort to promote cybersecurity investment through House File 2868. It recognizes the need for increased focus on cybersecurity and attempts to address the challenge by redirecting current IT spend. It is our mutual responsibility to figure out how to address this issue before Minnesota finds itself in the news, the next embarrassing victim of an avoidable cyber attack. As the state's Chief Information Security Officer, I am responsible for the security of our state's and citizens' information, and I take that responsibility with grave seriousness. Narrowly viewed, this bill would help equip the state's security program to be more effective against this evolving threat. Without a commensurate increase in funding, this bill, as drafted, would force Minute partners to reallocate budget, which is particularly disruptive mid-biennium. We, as Minute broadly, are concerned about some agencies reallocating from application support and development activities, negatively impacting the function of some of our applications. Another option could be the delay of modernization projects that, in the long term, hinders our ability to efficiently protect the state. Still, others would be forced to cut corners in other areas of IT in order to maintain the levels of service they provide today while complying with the mandate. Nonetheless, I think we can find language that increases security for Minnesotans without putting other operations at undue risk. Again, thank you, Representative Nash. I look forward to working with you on this bill, and I'm optimistic that we can arrive at language that helps protect Minnesotans.
Okay. Before we move on, is there anyone else that wishes to testify to this bill? Okay. Representative Pugh.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Representative Nash. Wondering how, if this bill is signed into law by the governor, it might help protect the statewide voter registration system, the Secretary of State and his office, and in protecting the data in the statewide voter registration system.
Representative Nash.
Well, Madam Chair and Representative Pugh, the Secretary of State is not a Minute client. They are a standalone. I do have another bill that appropriates money for cybersecurity at the Secretary of State, but I'm glad that you're thinking along those lines because, again, none of us want to be the person that looks the voter in the eye and say, hey, your data is now in the hands of somebody else. But this focuses the efforts solely on those who are Minute clients or subscribers. And to address Mr. Call's concern about some of the existing projects or potentially scheduled projects from being deprived of some money. And it's a legitimate concern. But if you remember what I said in my initial testimony, we don't want the growth of IT to outstrip us protecting that information that is in those projects. And I would argue that we are currently outstripping the protection. And that is something that is deeply concerning to me. I would hope it's deeply concerning for you as well. It is something that we can fix. And again, this is not a revolutionary idea. This is something that is being done in the private sector every single day, that the mandate is to not grow faster than you can essentially keep the wall around the castle. You don't want to grow beyond the castle wall.
Representative Pugh. Representative Vogel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not sure how I direct this to on the fiscal note. Possibly somebody from Minute, but I'm looking at the $87,000 expenditure that would have to be done to implement this. And my question is, why aren't we doing this already? You know, they're talking about another $87,000 to track how much we're basically spending on cybersecurity and analyze it. And my thought is that we should be probably doing that already. And if we're not, I'm not sure why we need a fiscal note, because maybe it should be implemented under the current budget.
Mr. Call, would you care to comment?
Madam Chair, members, there is an accounting mechanism in place for tracking some cybersecurity spend. It does not account for project-based spend and other things that would have to be accounted for as part of this 5%, so as to maximize credit, so to speak, to those agencies.
Representative Vogel.
Well, Madam Chair, and to the testifier, I guess my concern is cybersecurity like everybody else. And if we're not having a good tracking system already that would give us these numbers, then maybe we should be doing that. And I recognize that there might be some additional costs, but I'm not so sure that that should be a result of this bill. It should be done already, and that's my basic question here, is why we're getting a fiscal note for something that should be there or is there and not maybe being properly enhanced.
Mr. Call, do you care to comment?
Madam Chair, members, so today, security spend exists in a number of different locations. Not all of it is controlled directly by FinDeps that I have direct insight into. A great deal of it is being provided under the policies and standards and direction promulgated from my program, but not the budget is not tracked as part of those controls.
Representative Vogel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I guess probably no use having more question and answer on this, because it's something I believe should be done, but I would suggest that maybe Minute look at tracking what we're doing on cybersecurity, whether or not this bill is implemented.
Well, I think that actually, if you look on page 7 in the last paragraph, they obviously are tracking it because they state that 3% out of state agencies is for cybersecurity, and they have that amount at 13 million. So they're already performing the function, so I don't know why this would be something new. But you raised a very good point, Representative Vogel.
Maybe we need an independent legislative budget office.
Well, I think you have a bill for that, don't you? Representative Lilly.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Nash. I know you're very earnest on the security thing. Yesterday, I was on capital investment, and you have that bill for capital security, and I think it's a great bill, and it's great to be thinking about those things, and important, because it is a changing world. So carrying that same argument forward, I mean, this really is a changing world, as we well know. We had Secretary of State sitting where you were and saying that our state's being preyed on or started to be, and there's all sorts of new sorts of different types of threats. So it just, my concern isn't upping the game in cybersecurity ever. It's just the way you're going about it. And so it just kind of, I know you're a sports guy, but it just kind of like, the Twins maybe saying, hey, hey, I care about cybersecurity, but I don't want to invest in it. So it reminds me like the Twins say they want to win. Oh, we want to win, but they're not going to hire a pitcher. So you're not going to up your game. Or I know you like soccer, and our soccer team just hired a new midfielder, so that they can help their chances of winning. So these are just examples, but I'm not necessarily, I'm totally in favor of, what you're, caring about security, and we all need, every one of us. I mean, these threats are real, and every day on our phones, there's predators out there. And like you say, it's not the old person sitting in a basement, maybe like it used to be. It's serious organized threats. And the data that our state has, we had a great opportunity to tour at the Revenue Department, but they have, wealth of information, and they have real threats every day that are going on over there. But maybe a better analogy is, I don't know if you remember the movie Monty Python. So I think what you're doing is a little bit like that. You're like, you're kind of turning the state into, I'll fight you. But, you're cutting arms off, and so you're not really giving the state a fair fight to, I just wish we'd fully fund things, and then, so that the state and we'd have the proper tools, So do you remember Monty Python, where the movie, and so the guy's basically sitting there with no arms and legs, and so that's what I feel like you're doing a little bit. And I know that you're sincere, that you care about these issues, and it's not some theater that you're playing, but it's, I just wish you'd help the state be successful. That's all.
Well, Madam Chair,
Just a second. Is there anyone else that has questions? Otherwise, do you want to respond to that,
I
Representative
do.
Nash? Or?
I do,
Okay.
Madam Chair. And Representative Lilly, it's really more than just a flesh wound. The entities that buy from Minute should be participating in the acquisition of cybersecurity tools that are going to be deployed on their behalf. So if you remember, I talked to the fact that Chair Anderson put money in last year's budget bill, which we put out there. Last year was a budgeting year, this year is not. So now we have to find a way to get the same tools, but we have fewer ways to get it done. This is a way that we can actually get it done. This is a way that's being done in the real world, and it is largely successful. And again, remember that this is something that should be happening, and it's really not. We've heard a number of instances, and I think of Mr. Call and before him Mr. Boozy as sometimes just barely holding it all together. And we have to provide a better way to do that. Last year's bill didn't work out. The governor chose to reappropriate that money for something else. We have to do better. This is the mechanism that I have in front of me to do that, so that's how we're going down that road.
Okay. Representative Olson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And mine was a little bit along the lines of Representative Lilly's, and you're just hitting on some of it too, as last year was a budget year. We underfunded our state agency requests. This year, we're midstream in a biennium where we're asking them to take money away from something to go into cybersecurity, which we all agree. I mean, there's no disagreement on the spirit of what is happening. But I feel like the timing of asking our agencies after last year, a budget year, we heard them in multiple ways talk about issues related to this. We didn't heed the request to fully fund their request. Now we're at a point mid-biennium where we're not in a budget year asking them to change their budgets. and doing it in a way where we're not providing funding when it is, we do sit in a surplus. So I also just share concerns if we're serious about cybersecurity. And I think what you're getting at here is good, and I agree we need to do it, but just the spirit of a mid-biennium change without any funding makes it really difficult to hear that we're taking it as serious as we need to.
Representative Nash.
Well, Madam Chair and Representative Olson, I want to go back again to talk about the fact that we did put money in the bill last year for cyber tools. We did. It was $26 million. We put it in the bill. And we got it off the floor. We took it to conference committee, and Commissioner Franz negotiated it away at the governor's direction. And I spoke to Commissioner then Boozy, and he said 26 million would have been a fantastic amount of money to come up with cyber tools. So I understand, but we didn't underfund this last year. We provided a very ample amount of money for cyber tools. So I understand your concern, but this effective date is July of 18. So most of the projects are probably underway. This is going to have a bigger effect for projects moving forward. But we have got to do this. And we had a solution last time that got negotiated away at the governor's request. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Well, I appreciate Representative Nash bringing this issue forward, because when I look at how we handle issues that are that important, Mr. Call, did you care to comment?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to follow up on the explanation. I apologize if my explanation about that 87,000 was inadequate. I do think that we've got it explained on page 7 of the fiscal note, and I'm happy to take any follow-up questions as to how we arrived at that or why we believe that the added complexity warrants another FTE.
Thank you, Mr. Call. So before we move on from this bill, I just want to applaud you, Representative Nash, for bringing this forward. I am surprised, actually, that we have to put this in legislation, because I would assume that if you're viewing cybersecurity as the #1 priority for the agency, that would be part of how they budget and how they manage projects going forward. I know that any entity out there that has this, they look at their top priorities. What do we need to do, and what would we like to do? And cybersecurity obviously is a need-to-do item, and yet we don't have to do that. So I apologize that you have to go through the gymnastics of putting this bill forward, because you would assume that this would be part of the budgeting anyway. Especially when, it was okay to use $2.5 million for, new office space, but not cybersecurity. So I applaud your efforts, and with that, Representative Nash renews his motion that House File 2868 be laid over for possible inclusion in the Omnibus State Government Finance Bill, as amended.